Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Carson, and for my internship, I worked at the Fort Myers Broadcasting Company. So, a little bit about me. I'm a Florida Gulf Coast University senior studying communication with a concentration in public relations. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about the internship. On the left-hand side is a brief history of Wink if you're interested in reading that. Instead, I wanted to talk about my duties and how I received the internship. So, I found the opportunity to work at Wink through the communication internship fair. Through that, I met Melvin Vigo, who would end up being my supervisor. We had a brief conversation and exchanged information. And after being interviewed, I was offered an opportunity to become an intern at Wink as a digital content producer. My duties while working there would be to find digital media stories from Wink's affiliate news stations, as well as through CBS and the Associated Press websites. We would cross post those stories onto the Wink website as to generate traffic. Another duty that I was expected to work on is translating the televised news scripts of that day into a web article. Not only would I have to translate the script, I would also have to cut and edit that specific story from the newscast, put it into the article as to make the article itself more appealing to click on and to retain viewership on the website. This process helped improve my writing skills, which prior to this internship, I considered to be a bit of a weak spot of mine. So my career goals, like many other students, my specific career goals had not been yet established, and a huge concern of mine was graduating and not knowing what to do with my degree after graduation. So while working at Wink, it provided some clarity as to what I wanted to focus on professionally. Um, I actually enjoy the fast pace and hectic work environment that a newsroom offers, and being able to creatively write for a news outlet was engaging, and it helped me figure out how I wanted to decide my career path going forward. So some of the learning outcomes while working at Wink, as I previously mentioned, I felt that my competency as a writer could use a lot of improvement. That was the initial reason why I applied for the internship, and that was the primary thing that I was focusing on while working at Wink. It provided some meaningful real world experience as to how a person would write professionally for a news outlet. And the second outcome would be how professionals in a work environment need to take advantage of being sociable and exercising your communication skills, which is integral when working in media, because you need to be able to communicate well with other people, not only within the newsroom, but also with people that you're interviewing as well. It defines whether or not you're successful or not when working in media. So I believe that while working at this internship, I've honed in on that ability to communicate efficiently with other people. I just wanted to go over briefly my supervisor. Starting from the left side is Melvin Vigo. He is the digital product director. He oversees the website alongside Carolyn Dolcel-Mascolo, who is the digital news director and special projects executive producer. My direct supervisor is Hans Morgenstern. He is the executive web producer. He oversees the digital content producers, while also checking over any sort of AP style grammatical mistakes that we may make. So as far as professionalism, I've had worked many jobs prior to this internship at Wink, and it's helped refine a work ethic for myself. Of course, you want to be as professional of a person as possible. You're a representative of Florida Gulf Coast University when you take up this internship. And while working at Wink, I became a representee of the Wink News brand. As part of my experience very early on, my supervisors wanted me to have an on field experience. So graciously, one of the reporters, Elizabeth Biro, took me along for the day so that I can learn her process about what it is and what it's like to be a reporter. She was working on a story, and I was able to watch her interview people, go through the process of finding people, kind of getting them comfortable for the camera, seeing who would want to be interviewed for uh, the news broadcast. So it was very interesting to see that process and how one's communication skills is put to a real life example, which was very informative. And it actually helped me uh, gather the courage to go and create a news article specifically for the website. So it helped actually learning how to become comfortable enough to interview someone. So from my contribution to Wink, uh, part of their initiative to build a more robust digital content production department, they wanted to create more web exclusive news stories that they wanted to put on the website, less translating the scripts from that televised broadcast of that day and more from the digital content producers themselves. And whatever topics were interesting to them, they could do the research, find the professionals, interview them, and write up the news article, create a video for that article, make it appealing, and draw traffic towards the Wink website. So, in a way, I actually became a hybrid reporter. I interviewed, I researched, and I found people, created and created a web article, and that became the first web exclusive article for Wink, which was a prideful moment of myself uh, because they allowed me to have that freedom to do so. I had no expectation of doing something that would be considered a normal task for a full-time employee. So the article itself was about the marijuana legislation process in Florida. Around that time, there was talk of a initiative to put legalized marijuana on the voter ballots. My second article that I created, it was towards the later half of my internship, and that was focused on plastic overconsumption and how we can limit our use of it. So how does this connect to my education? So taking communication classes helped with the process of applying and interviewing for this internship. In the public relations capstone, we had a representative from the Pages program, excuse me, who taught us how to perform an elevator speech as a method of breaking the ice. So I used that on my supervisor to help make the conversation a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more fluid, which I think helped out a lot in obtaining this internship. Um, from watching the reporters and how they go about their process of interviewing people, I kind of wanted to mimic it and adopt that style as well. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like as if I get more experience in interviewing people, I'll become a little bit more comfortable and enunciate properly and not accidentally talk over the interviewee while they're giving their answers, which has happened twice, which is not great. Having taken PR writing, I was introduced to the AP style of writing, but a hurdle that I needed to overcome was, in fact, forgetting how a public relations student would write professionally as opposed to a journalist and how they would write professionally. And while there are similarities, um, there's a style that needs to be adopted when you're a journalist so that it's a less promotional. You don't want it to sound promotional, obviously, from a public relations student perspective, but the process is a little different from when you're writing for a media outlet. So as previously mentioned, I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do with my degree. The anxiety started to get to me. Um, I didn't expect that my internship would be this transformative and help me understand where I kind of wanted to direct myself professionally after graduating college, um, which I am very grateful for Wink in giving me that opportunity and giving me all of these lessons taught. I didn't expect that. I honestly thought that it was going to be more just sitting me in front of a computer and doing the menial labor, but they trained me up as if I were a new employee for the purpose of enriching the experience while interning. Um, it also helps as well that because the digital media department is still growing, that they need people and they want to hire me for a full-time position after I graduate, which is definitely a positive. Thank you for dealing with my presentation. My name is Nicholas Carson again. You can reach me at nicholas.carson@winknews.com. If you have any sort of news stories that you would like to share, the emails are wide open. Thank you so much.